Welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to join with Fia with her fantastic movie, Paul and Tricia, The Art of Fluidity. Let's take a look at the clip.
You learn very early on that what you do for a living as an artist doesn't conform with most people's norms. So they think you're a weirdo, or you're dangerous, or you're antisocial or something, right? And I gave up trying to explain. I just do what I do.
Fia, thank you so much for bringing your film to us and welcome to the New Filmmakers LA family. We're so delighted to have your really fantastic documentary with us, and I've got so many questions, but for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
So our film, Paul and Tricia, The Art of Fluidity, is a 75-minute feature documentary about the iconic artist Paul Whitehead, a UK artist, gender fluid. And Paul created a lot of the original, the iconic albums with Peter Gabriel for Genesis, like Foxtrot and Nursery Crime. Incredible artists. And started Time Out UK. He did the first drive-in billboards in Los Angeles. He made the largest outdoor mural in Vegas, which is incredible, massive thing. And continues to generate incredible artwork. And at 55, Paul discovered there was Tricia Van Cleef inside. And so there's this beautiful fluidity of both Paul and Tricia, and that really is what the theme of the movie is. It's about not being in a box, being fluid between two boxes, several boxes, not having any boundaries that limiting oneself. And it's the beautiful duality of their gender and artwork, and really two artists in one body, and all those beautiful things.
You told this story so beautifully, and I really felt like I was there in the room with Paul and Tricia. And obviously, you know, Genesis being one of the most iconic, you know, music groups. Him also doing some incredible art. I mean, Time Out is like the #1 magazine in the UK that everybody reads. And then in himself is, you know, a fantastically great artist. And then I love that, you know, Paul discovered Tricia, you know, at a later point in his life. And I think the art really resembles just his full fluidity in his you know, artistic skills. Is that something that you kind of noticed through his art, that he just has got this very expansive vision that felt almost more than one person?
Yes, absolutely. And you know, it's interesting because if you go back, and you mentioned you saw it twice, I don't know if you noticed it, but behind all Paul Whitehead's artwork, we have a little bit of Tricia's Starscape kind of being peeled away. So we always have her, she's always there. And so it's interesting now. So I think that they're both becoming commingled a lot more. And they made a beautiful piece of artwork for Steve Hackett, who's one of the members of Genesis. Paul and Tricia saw Steve in concert up in Santa Barbara last night. And so was able to create those beautiful, bring them both, Paul and Tricia, into one painting. But yes, I think they're really kind of having so much fun with experimenting with both. I've spent quite a bit of money on several pieces of artwork. I've gotten some things discounted, but I love the Starscapes. I love them because they really have, they're just, there's no boundary to them. And they're just so colorful and beautiful, and that just gives you that feeling of expansion and possibility. And also it's kind of dystopian in a way.
It is, and I feel like the way you told the story was boundless. It just, you know, you really felt like there was no boundaries, and there should be no boundaries in art, but there also should be no boundaries in who you are as a human being, and that gender fluidity. I feel like it's, you know, I think we can take for granted a little bit of some of the progress that we've made, and certainly for, you know, Paul and Tricia, it's a lot harder coming from that generation to really be able to be the openness of yourself and who you are, and freedom in your self-discovery. Was that something that you really, kind of noticed, obviously, when you were working with Paul and Trisha? How was that experience? Because as a queer person, I know I'm always learning, but like, I always think about people that have fought for where we are today, that have come through that, like Paul and Trisha.
That's a really great question. It was very interesting. When I first started working with them, they were very nervous about me depicting them as, he's like, I'm not a tranny. And I was like, first of all, I never refer to any of my transgender friends as tranny. I find that is not, that's a really degrading word.
Yeah.
So, but they were just worried about, how I would. And I just was like, listen, as a filmmaker, I do not editorialize. I'm there to tell your truth and your experience of your own sexuality and your gender. And it is unique to them. And so they have been learning so much about themselves, but I think at one point, it was very clear that Trisha, Paul, almost completely transitioned fully into Trisha. And then in the film you see that realized that they didn't have to do that to be an acceptance. So that's been that journey of accepting the duality within and being okay with it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because all the terminology changes too. From
regularly too.
Yes, people referred to Paul and Trisha before as cross-dressers, and then trans, and now it's by gender and bisexual and gender fluid and all those things. And Paul and Trisha are bisexual, and I see two different people.
Yeah,
I do. I love Trish. I get along very well with her. Paul kind of gets mad at me when I don't drive correctly, but Trish is a little nicer.
She's more nice.
Trish is very. I borrow Trish's shoes.
Oh,
we
there
have a
you
great
go.
time.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting to see that, but. I just let them be who they are as the filmmaker. It's my job not to put them in a box, not to force them in thematically into they've got to do this or this has to be more dramatic. They have to be confrontational. I could have done that, but that wasn't who they are.
Yeah.
And I wanted and part of their acceptance of both sides too, and sexually is about is feeling safe within themselves and just being able to be at peace with that.
Absolutely.
And I know it's not always easy because I feel like, sometimes Paul has said, I don't fit in. I don't fit in with the, because I didn't completely transition.
Yeah.
I feel judged. And then they've said to me, because I'm bisexual, that people don't trust you. And they say that too in the film.
It's
I think hard.
It is hard. I mean, you certainly, you said to me about you're an actor's director, and I think you've got, even just on this set, you make me feel very safe and secure. And I think, not every director has that, but you've obviously given that essence to Paul and Trisha for allowing your subject to be able to kind of come forward and be open and honest the way that they are and the way they live their life. I was so intrigued with the story. I wanted to ask you, where did it start for you to decide to tell a feature-length story about Paul and Trisha? When was that moment for you?
Well, I have been on this journey with LGBTQ+ projects. I'm currently working on my first narrative feature called Mermaid, about a trans 11-year-old boy, that tough kid that has been literally in the closet with their gender dysphoria and claims their identity is from Cassius to Cass. And it is a story we're seeing more of, but it's how we tell it, which is the execution that's different. And I'm going to be making that in the spring in Massachusetts. And so I've been working on that and getting to know so many different, talking to trans youth, talking to different boys and girls and their parents, and getting whole other sides to this duality of gender and also like the transitioning that both the parents and children feel and wanting to be accepted and accepting it within themselves. So I was already on that journey, and then Adam, my boyfriend, is very good friends with Paul and Trisha, and had commissioned, before COVID, they were going to go tour Europe with a pop-up show for Paul, because Paul has a huge fan base in Europe and also Italy, so they were going to do all these gallery pop-up shows, and then had Adam's son and best friend are really talented animators, filmmakers, animation filmmakers, and then had done these 3 wonderful short little the animated pieces that you see in the film about Paul and Tricia. And that was to be on a loop in the gallery. And so when COVID hit, that whole plan got scrapped. So Adam had these 3 animated pieces. He said, can you just put a short film together around these animated shorts? And I looked at it, and I thought, well, let me look at it. And then I kind of looked at it again, and then I really thought about the stories. This is not a short film. Do you know Paul and Tricia? Do you know them? This is not a short. And once we kind of got into it, I mean, I just knew it was going to be a feature. And I had never, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a storyteller. And I don't say I'm a documentary filmmaker, or I'm just narrative.
Yeah.
I'm very attracted to the story, because it's how you tell the story. It's you can still be very creative, even if it's
absolutely.
documentaries, or it's all about the story and the subject. So I was very drawn to it. And then when I started, I knew that the spine of the story was the duality of the gender and the artwork. Then everything could kind of blossom from there, tying in Yogananda and all the spiritual acceptance of the father they never had.
Yeah.
So that's how it blossomed. And then we always have a little joke. I always had a joke with Paul and Tricia, because I said, Adam was like, when is this film going to be done? I said, well, as soon as they stop telling me incredible things about their lives,
Yeah,
So,
I love, that's a great way of saying it.
It's just
that
the film will be done when it tells me it's done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so unlike, I mean, I have had the privilege and honor of working on some docuseries stuff. But this really was like, as a doing a documentary, it's all like a lot of stuff. Yes, you craft your structure and you have your questions and you build your script, but it's all, then your script kind of all ties together like this incredible tapestry with all these threads you put in post and editing. And our editor, William Gilmore, did an amazing job.
Great job. But yeah, I love that you described the tapestry. It's if you can feel all the threads and turn beautiful, and what a tapestry you had.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to say I commend you on just your support of taking the fear out of many, trans youth, the LGBTQ plus community, because we really do need stories, both narrative, both in documentary format, to really take out the fear of subjects and people that we really shouldn't be in fear of. We just need to understand better and learn and educate and listen and have empathy. And so thank you so much. I'm excited to view your feature as well. But I just want to add to that,
Thank you for saying that.
No, really.
That means a lot to me.
And for Paul and Tricia, I'm just curious. Obviously, you had your intentions about the kind of documentary and kind of film you wanted to make. What do you want your audience to take from your film?
I want them to take away the idea that not everyone's going to like you, and not everyone's going to love what you do, but you have to love yourself, and you're there. Live your life to make yourself feel comfortable, not everybody around you. In your artwork and in your gender, whoever you love, however you identify, however, what it is that you want to do in your life. Be true to yourself. And that's the thing why I'm an animal activist, and now I feel very drawn to LGBTQ plus activism as well. Because at the end of the day, it's standing up for the voiceless. And between the animals and then the children that don't have voices. A lot of these young children that they just want to be accepted and seen by their families. And this is not, with my feature with Mermaid, it's not about saying to a 10-year-old kid, or pushing on Paul and Tricia, you have to transition to be a woman. It's about I see you, I understand you, and I love you for who you are, just as anybody would do for us.
Absolutely.
So it's like, if that's the thing that gets me so angry about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm sorry to mention this stuff, but this polarizing of gender and sexuality and all this stuff. I mean, if somebody came in and said you've got to be gay, if you're not gay and you can't love your wife, you've got to love this person. And if that's not how you identify or sexually or any of that, how would you feel? And that's what those people are doing to our wonderful LGBTQ plus community and these children. And I've spent 4 hours on the phone with this one woman and talking about her son who had transitioned, and she just, he's tried to take his life several times, and the very church, and they're in New York, which you think is very liberal, got up and condemned people who are gay and trans. And absolutely. So, I just feel like it's like we have to support the parents as well as the children. And so that's why I'm drawn to it.
Well, I appreciate all that you're doing with that. It means a lot to me and to many people in the community, and animals are the best, so I'm with you on that. If I wasn't here, I'd be cuddling my 2 cats. So, no, seriously, thank you so much. Obviously, you know, Mermaid is coming next, and just want to just finalize for any filmmaker is out there, and what I love about you is you've got such a strong heart for the things that you believe in and want to fight for. What advice would you give to filmmakers out there that want to get their story heard or put a story out there to be heard?
I would say be true to yourself. Don't feel the pressure of like what the distributors want, what this, what that. Yes, there's a certain, if you're doing a big horror movie, whatever, you're gonna need some big stars, or you're doing this big action thing, you know, okay, you're gonna get some big, you know, all right, but if you are setting out at your first feature, be true to yourself, write what you know. And, you know, I think it's just being about, it's stepping back and really getting into, not literally, obviously, but figuratively, really understanding, to be able to walk in the shoes of your character. Yeah. And even if you have a character you don't like, you have to learn to love them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I've done with some of my other projects, is you know, the dad in Mermaid, you know, learn to love him even though he doesn't accept. And also, you know, when Paul and Tricia talk about some of the people that have made it difficult for them at times, you know. Absolutely. I mean, they love their father, even though their father never really accepted them. So I think we just have to be able to embrace the good and the bad in the story. And also, don't be afraid to tell a true story. Don't be afraid, because it is independent filmmakers, it is the filmmakers that are standing up for their voices, like you're producing all these wonderful movies, I'm sure I want to hear more about. And that, you know, if you're true, that we are the ones telling these stories, and we have to get them out there, because people want to see these stories. Because a lot of stuff, there's that big same old stuff the studios are doing. It's not what people want to see. Absolutely. I mean, yes, your 5-year-old wants to see Trolls, but people want to see the truth now. Absolutely. And they want to be inspired, and they want to know about. I think that's why documentaries are doing so well, and pieces that are to the heart, really. So I would just say, stay true to who you are. And know that it's a long road. It's a long road getting a film financed, distributed, and the devil is in the details, too. Yeah,
that's so true.
Right?
Well, I mean, I'm glad you're a filmmaker. Thank you so much for bringing Paul and Tricia, The Art of Fluidity. I'm excited for Mermaid 2 and all the other projects, but thank you for your, you know, aura and, you know, also fantastic advice for everyone out there as well. So
thank you so much for taking the time
and
interviewing me, and thank you for NewFilmmakers LA. This has just been a wonderful process and journey with you guys, and look forward to screening tomorrow.
Thank you very much for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.